Okay, so this is a knife that Arthur Wright and Sons is calling a English Jack. I don't think typically the English Jack is like this. This is more of like a boy's knife, as far as I'm concerned. But they call it an English Jack. Um, but it's basically a two-bladed jackknife with a spear blade, main blade, and then it's got a pen secondary here. Let me close the spear blade. It's got a pen secondary blade. This one is in rosewood. And I got this on allaboutpocketknives.com. There's a seller called James and Company where you can get these Arthur Wright knives in the US for those of us that are presiding in the United States. You can get them over there for about the same price as you would pay in the United Kingdom. So that's pretty cool for people like me that are just into pocket knives. So I'll definitely pick up more now that I have a place that I can get them relatively affordably. Um, but this knife's pretty nice put together for the most part. There's a couple little things with it, fit and finish wise. It's gonna be kind of hard to show here, but like a couple of the spots here, there's a little bit of like a gap between the cover and the liner here. This one has a wormhole in the handle and another like wormhole there. Funny thing is, this James and Company, they actually emailed me and were like, "Do you still want the knives?" And showed me pictures of it. And of course, this doesn't bother me; it's just cosmetic. So I said, "Yeah, send them. I still want them and everything." And I was excited for these knives to come. This is about the same size as a 15, I think. I didn't grab a 15, but I think it's about the same size as the Great Eastern Cutlery 15. So it's like a boy's knife as far as I'm concerned. Certainly big enough to get all of your hand on, and fairly substantial in your hand. Action on the main blade is pretty good. It could be a little bit better, but for a knife that you're working with and stuff, it's not gonna go closed or anything. The closing action could be a little bit better, but the opening action is good. It just doesn't quite snap closed like you may be used to with some other knives. And the pen blade is interesting. The pen blade snaps open fine, and then when you close it, it snaps shut okay, but then it like bounces off the back spring and the blade sits above the handle there, which is another like thing, which is weird. But and then if you just push it down, it just goes into the handle. And if you saw there, I like grabbed it and it went in. Can I do that again? No, probably not. Oh, right there, it did it again. So if you just barely grab it, let it go, it won't bounce off the back spring. But if you grab it from like up here and let it bounce close, it bounces off the back spring. And I think that may have to do with the way the kick is designed here. Because if you look at it, the kick is like barely off of the like rest of the like tang of the blade. So I don't know if that's got something to do with it or not. But it does bounce off the back spring, and all you have to do is just give it a little shove shut there before you put it away. So not the end of the world or anything, but a little problem. The blades are pretty well centered. Actually, the main blade's pretty close to that liner. Yeah, main blade's pretty close to the liner. I don't think it's rubbing, but I didn't really notice. I did carry this for a day or two before I did this video. Handles are rosewood, if I didn't already say that. Yeah, nice looking knife. Just a good little two-bladed jackknife as far as I'm concerned. They call it an English jack. Arthur Wright and Sons does. But I think an English jack is typically a bigger knife. Typically, anyway. Oh, by the way, I do have this ruler here. I can measure things now. It's about 3 3/4 closed. So a decently sized knife. A lot of people would say that's pretty perfect as for, size of pocket knife and everything. I think 3 3/4 is pretty perfect for most people when it comes to blade size. Now, I actually do like a bigger knife sometimes, but just for like an everyday little pocket knife, this is a good size for it. See if I can measure the blade here. The blade is under 3 inches, so of course, if you live in the United Kingdom, you can carry this knife that's made in the United Kingdom. So congratulations. But the one weird thing about Arthur Wright and Sons that I've noticed is it seems like they use a couple different tang stamps. This one says A. Wright and Sons, or A. Wright and Son Limited, Ltd, Sheffield, England. That's what that one says. And some other ones will just say like handmade Sheffield, England, and there's a couple other tang stamps. So that is interesting to me that they use a couple different tang stamps. And I do like the satin blades on this, of course. Big fan of satin blades, if you didn't know. High polished stuff gets all scratched up and everything, whereas satin doesn't. And, you know, it patinas well and everything, so I like that. But yeah, cool little knife. Well put together, no blade play or anything. And once again, as I believe I've discussed in my last Arthur Wright video on the lamb's foot, these are like working man's knives. They're not going to be perfect, but also they're like $50. I think this one was $50. So you're comparing like a $50 knife to like a Great Eastern Cutlery or something, a Great Eastern Cutlery or something. You're doing it wrong, because obviously that's a much more expensive knife than this is. But yeah, cool little knife for like $50. It's well made, and I'm sure that, you know, if you're just looking for a pocket knife, I'm sure this is something that will outlast you as long as you take care of it. So really do like these Arthur Wright and Sons knives. I've been enjoying them. It's nice to be buying knives that aren't ridiculously priced. Sometimes it's nice to spend the same amount on 2 or 3 knives that you would on one knife of a more premium brand. But anyway, that's going to be the video here on this Arthur Wright and Son English Jack, as they call it. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one, and I hope you have a good day.